Well, this is my kinky beer. And I produced this, actually developed this recipe while I was working at the Mendocino Brewing Company in Ukiah, California. So after I graduated from college at UC Davis, I went to work at the New Albion Brewing Company, which was in Sonoma, California. And in reality, I started working there summers from 1978, 79, 80, and 81. I went on full-time at the New Albion Brewing Company. The New Albion Brewing Company was the very first microbrewery to open up in the United States. It was in Sonoma, California. So that's my lineage in the craft brewing movement. That started with the very first one. And in 1983, we closed down the New Albion Brewing Company and started the Mendocino Brewing Company in Hopland, California. It was the very first brew pub to open up in the United States. And I worked there for 25 years as a master brewer, producing Red Tail Ale and Eye of the Hawk and Blue Heron and all those other good beers. Those are all my babies that are out there still in the marketplace, and it's kind of fun to see those on the shelf as well. But it turned out that one day in the Hopland Brewery, which at that time was producing about 45 gallons per batch, a fella came down out of the hills of Mendocino County with a couple of great big garbage bags over his shoulder, and he said, "I want to make a special beer to celebrate the harvest season, and I want you to use this in it." And of course, I looked at these big garbage bags and I said, Mendocino County, you got some herbs in there. Well, we'll see what we can do.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. It had nothing to do with anything illegal. It was actually an herb that had been used in brewing before the advent of hops. And so it was actually a type of sage called clary sage. And it was used to add a little bit of bitterness and a real flowery aroma to beer. So he had grown this clary sage in the high altitudes of Mendocino County and chopped off a bunch of the flower spikes and he brought them down to us to make a special beer. So we made 3 kegs, and I used this little bit of sage along with a bit of raw ginger root. And I made a nice light, flowery beer that was a harvest beer for him. And I've subsequently continued to make this beer and redevelop that recipe for use with the Napa Smith Brewing Company. And so when you taste the Napa Smith wheat beer, which is what we have here in front of us, you'll notice the flavor of raw ginger. I use 1 pound of raw ginger root, that big old ugly root that you see in the store. 1 pound of that goes into 200 cases worth of beer. And so when you taste it, you'll taste a little bit of that ginger root that'll come right out. And that's why it's really nice with fish and sushi, of course. It's good with sushi. But it's a great light beer that is really fine on hot weather days. It's very clean. It has just a little bit of sweetness in the finish to help it make it be a little bit more palatable. I've got a lot more to say, but I can't remember what it was. So, the other thing I wanted to say is, at everybody's place, if you don't have one, let me know. But there's a bottle opener. And I want each one of you to take this home and put it into your earthquake preparedness kit. Just in case things start shaking, you want to be able to make sure you open that bottle of beer, okay? Cheers.